Okay, so this is my 5-year, 30,000 mile review of a 2016 BMW S1000XR. This is a Gen 1, obviously, for those of you who know about such things. There are a couple of gens. You get arguments on the forums, as with all things, as to which one's better. They made some changes, let's say, and it took away some good things but improved some other things. Anyway, this is a Gen 1. It's got a inline 4 999cc engine that's broadly similar to the one in the S1000 sport bike and the street bike, but this one is, and I don't like to say detuned, it's retuned. So it's got less brake horsepower, it's got slightly smaller throttle intakes, I think, which improve low down torque, but drop the brake horsepower, so it's actually more road rideable. You don't have to scream it quite as much in order to get similar drive. But you're looking at 165 ponies and about 83 foot-pounds of torque. That is an enormous amount of power for a street bike. You're going to get all sorts of people say, "Oh, I ride my bike and I've got this." And I learned a long time ago, there's a lot of bragging rights about who's got the fastest bike, the most powerful bike. But the reality is, you can only ride so fast on the road. And this thing is massively overpowered, and it's great. We love it. That's why we buy it. But actually, it has a lot of other good features as well. So it's pretty much stock, this one. The only things I've done, I haven't changed the windshield. You can get different windshields, but I've never felt the need. You can upgrade these little handlebars. I've never felt the need. This is a must. So the radiator and the oil radiator are uncovered, and of course the front wheel is right here, just throwing up loads of crap. So to get those little grills on to protect those are must. It actually came like, I bought this second hand. I have a talent for buying bikes that are about 2 years old, maybe 3 years old, with about 2,000 miles on them, so they barely run in, maybe just had that first oil change, and buying them for like half to 2/3 of the cost. So I got this super cheap compared to brand new. But anyway, so those came with it. What else did I do? I put a Sergeant seat on, which is a little bit more comfortable than the standard seat. Not a great deal though. Okay, bar end weights. You can't really tell, but these are not standard bar end weights. Inline 4 engines. This is going to get a little nerdy, and obviously a lot of people go, "Oh, that's not quite how it works." Inline 4 engines have very good primary balance, but very bad secondary balance. And for the most part, you don't notice. But on some bikes, and this is one of them, that ends up vibrating up the bike and ending up in your hands, which is very noticeable. They've got these little rubber spaces here to try and take it out, but it doesn't work. Gen 1's notorious for your right hand going numb. Left hand's fine, but your right hand, I guess because that's the throttle, which is a little bit looser, your hand is going to go numb. So bar end weights help tremendously, but don't alleviate the problem completely. You end up still having to switch on the cruise control and flex your hand just to make that go away. Exhaust. I did not upgrade the end can. There's a lot of end cans available. They all cost about $1,000. They all don't, they make it sound better, but they don't really, they're not much lighter, and they don't improve the performance. So this has, it's hard, no, it's not hard to see. You see this little gizmo here? It's actually kind of 2 exhausts, if you can see. There's like a main one, a little one. And the engine, depending on the revs, alters the exhaust profile to give maximum power at certain revs. So it's not just a slip-on end can. You have to get the right kind of slip-on end can, and yeah, it doesn't make a difference really. Now as you're going through the rider modes, you don't even hear the exhaust anyway. It sounds fantastic. In fact, when you're in Dynamic Pro, this thing pops and burbles, so I didn't really see the need to change the can whatsoever. What else did I change? Oh, obviously my take on a top box. I could pay hundreds of dollars for a top box, or I could just get a Pelican case, which has been completely watertight. In the 5 years I've had it, I never had anything leak, and it was significantly cheaper. You just get an adapter bracket, screw it on the bottom, and yeah, it works. You can lock it should you so wish. I've got a little padlock in there. Oh, so mine didn't come with the Garmin Navigator 6. I had to pay extra for that, and that cost me $1,000 at the time. I think that you can get them for about $650, $700 now. Honestly, if it were down to me now, I would get the, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, the Chigi A10-5 Play, because that comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it does all, and it works off the wheel just like that one does. So it does everything that this one does, but way more. Uses Google Maps, kind of slaves off your phone, I think. I may have that wrong. I'm guessing it does. Yeah, of course it does. So you're getting updated maps as opposed to slightly out of date ones. Yeah, that's all I did. That's all I did in terms of updates. It didn't need anything. So let's talk about some other standard parts. So this comes with the top of the line electronics package. So it's got 4 rider modes: Rain, Road, Dynamic, and Dynamic Pro. You can tell the difference between Rain, Road, and Dynamic Pro. I'm not really sure what Dynamic does. I know Dynamic Pro burbles a lot more. I actually adjust the wheelie sensitivity or anti-wheelie, depending on how you want to look at that. It's got a quick shifter, both up and down. It reacts better the harder you ride it, so the more aggressively you're riding, i.e. the faster, the smoother it is. It's almost seamless. It's just like click, click, click. It's fantastic. It's got cruise control, as I mentioned. It's got 2 suspension adjustment presets, though it has got its dynamic suspension adjustment. What do they call it? What is it? Is it written on the side? ESA, electronic suspension adjustment. So it's sensing the load, the reaction of the suspension, and it's constantly automatically adjusting it, both the front through this little gizmo here and the rear, to give you a better ride, which is changeable depending on your rider profile. But you can put in a little bit of a preset, which is basically, in fact, you've got more than 2, so you can just have rider with luggage, rider with pillion and luggage. So you can kind of play around with it like that. And heated grips, which for me, I use a lot, as you can imagine, in those winter months. I have used predominantly Metzler tyres, but the last set of tyres I put on were the Michelin Road 6 GTs, and they are phenomenal. Yeah, can't fault them. This one has, I happen to know because I'm a dork, 7,600 miles on it, and look how much tread is left, and it's hardly squared off. Yeah, phenomenal tyre, really, really good. So, yeah. So a few thoughts on the S1000XR. A little bit of context. Before owning this, I had a Phase 1000, and then after that I had a Tiger 1050. I've had a couple of bikes as well as having this, a Cruiser and a Triumph Scrambler 1200. So I've been riding for 30 plus years. I'm in my 50s, early 50s. Been highly trained by Her Majesty's Constabulary in England. I used to ride police bikes. I like riding fast. I've done track days, all those kind of things. I've had sports bikes, I've had cruisers, I've had road bikes. So 165 brake horsepower, 83 foot-pounds of torque in a ride-all-day comfort chassis. What a fantastic machine. It is absolutely unbelievably good. I didn't feel the need to change the exhaust. It pops and burbles pleasingly on the overrun in Dynamic Pro mode. The intake roar from the airbox. Oh, I did upgrade the airbox, well, the air filter to a K&N high air filter. The intake roar is addictive, and when you crack open that throttle, which is very rare because you're on roads, there are other road users, you know, there's things going on. A bike this powerful, the opportunities to actually open up the throttle are few and far between. You can have all the arguments, yeah, I'm a fast rider, okay, whatever. Well, you're either going to die, or you're doing it on the track, or you're a liar, because you can't do it all the time. You just can't. But the times that you can, it puts a big grin on your face. You look down at the speedometer, you're in not just license losing, but jail inducing speeds, and you're like, I've got to roll off. So, anyway, we won't go into that discussion. Phenomenally capable. I use it primarily for commuting. I do about 6,000 miles a year on it, just to go to and from work. It's so good. It gets me to and from work in all weathers. I ride it all year round, except when it goes below about 28 degrees, and I'm kind of like, no, it's a bit too cold. Those heated grips, though, they're money. And when it gets above 100, part of that is because the catalytic converter is right there, and it runs hot. So when you're riding, really in any conditions, but particularly when you're riding slowly through town, and it's above 100 degrees, and it's humid, I always wear a jacket and a helmet. And you've got the cat pumping out heat, and the radiator's blowing. It's just not a fun time. It's not good. So, extreme weathers, I say no. Touring, I've toured all over the country on this. I've been all the way to northern Pennsylvania. I've been not this bike, but other bikes. I've been all over the country. But this bike, I've done a couple of runs, like east. All day comfort. You can ride this thing 800 plus miles, and you're going to be okay at the end. The rider triangle it's German, you know. They set it up. They call it a adventure sports bike, and it is. It's for sports bike riders that have grown up and want to be able to ride without their necks and their wrists and their backs hurting and their knees hurting. Oh, look at the butterfly! Can you see the butterfly? It is phenomenally capable at touring and just lugging stuff around. It works well in the dry and in the rain. The electronics package has literally saved my life in the rain. And you can tell the difference between different rider modes. To be honest, it took me a little bit of getting used to the electronics. I came off very analog bikes with cables and carburetors originally, and then worked more into fuel injection. But this thing, it's on another level. Everything, it's all fly-by-wire. You kind of tell the bike what you want it to do, and it takes over. Now, it does it very well, so you don't really notice so much, but it kind of takes over. The only thing it won't do is off-road. Obviously, look at it. If you want to go off-road, you have to buy something else. It's too heavy, it's too big, the tyres are the wrong size, too much power. It's not an off-road bike. But really, really good at what it does. I've already mentioned the hot, so bad things. I've mentioned the catalytic converter running hot. Servicing costs are expensive. It's BMW. I only take mine in every 18,000 for the big service. It's the engine, valves, everything else I do myself because it's so expensive. It cost me $1,000 to get that done. Yeah, I felt that one. But yeah, you've got to buy special little connectors to turn off the service light. But then I reset it on my phone, so it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but it's easy to do. The main thing that I don't like about it, it's really hard for me to put my finger on it. The best way I can explain it is I've got an Alfa car, Alfa Romeo, and the gearbox in that is the Z8 gearbox, which is the same one in the Corvette, in the Audi R8, in the Lamborghini. It is a top of the line gearbox transmission, 8-speed, seamless. It has the manual, but I never use it because the automatic is so good at doing what it does. So my brain knows that this is a better driving experience. It is so quick and so good at doing what it does, but I miss a stick shift because I'm a driver. You know, I want to be able to stick shift. Same with this. And it's not the quick shift. The quick shift is a hoot, don't get me wrong. But the whole package, in my brain I know it's better than the Phaser, it's better than the Tiger. But I miss the Tiger. I don't know, for about a year I really struggled with this purchase because I was like, oh, crap, I bought the wrong bike. And honestly, if I'm just going for a ride, just for the ride, and it's not a commute, it's not a tour, I'm not trying to do anything, so it's not freezing cold or blah, I'm just trying to enjoy the ride. If it's between this and my Tiger and my Triumph Scrambler 1200, it's the Scrambler every time, because it's just more engaged. There's some subtle disconnect with the electronics, and I know that's the future in the way everything's moving, but that's the best way I can really have that. That said, if you're thinking of buying BMW S1000XR, particularly if you're like a GS owner or you're looking at a GS in one of these, if you're not going to take it off-road, get one of these. This is a phenomenal motorcycle. I've had it for 5 years, 30,000 miles. I haven't had one problem with it. You look at the forums, there are people that have little issues, or some large issues sometimes. But this is, I believe, the second best-selling motorcycle that BMW do, the first one being the GS. What a bike. It does everything you want it to, does it extraordinarily well. The electronics package is very good. It's the future. It's just a bit German, obviously. But I'm not going to get rid of it anytime soon. I've had it 5 years. It's only done 30,000 miles. I'm going to keep it till at least 50. There'll have to be some problem for me to get rid of it before then. So, yeah. It's a great bike. If you're thinking of it, if it's on your short list, take one for a test ride. You'll open it up in a second, and the grin on your face, and you hear that roar, you'll come back and put a deposit down on it. There isn't anything else like it. Well, of course there are bikes like it, but this is the daddy.